All right, welcome back, process safety leaders. In this video, we're going to discuss the manage workload cheat sheet. Now, this is one of the steps in our process safety leadership framework that helps PSM sites, process safety leaders, engineers, operations managers, advisors, go ahead and set up a process where people can actually, your site team members need to be able to manage the workload. We've seen common struggles such as lack of a systematic prioritization method, where everything is a priority. And if everything's a priority, nothing is a priority, nothing gets done, or it could just really drive frustration, which drives us to the next struggle. The main struggle that we see is the focus constantly shifting on the site. If you are a process safety leader, you've had these conversations, we call it coffee room conversations, where you have the site team members saying, man, last hitch when I came, this was the focus, now this hitch is the next focus. Like, what's really the focus here? And then when the site team members start feeling that their resources are spread too thin, these are all signals of maybe not having a workload managed process or workload management process set in place. And so we're going to talk about the main three pillars, the main three steps that we've seen process safety leaders use to effectively drive a proper workload management system. So with that said, I'll turn over to our co-founder here, Felipe Rendon. He's going to take us through the main three steps on what a process safety leader should strive for and drive for to go ahead and get a proper managed workload process in place. Go ahead, Felipe, take us over.
All right, thanks, Joel. So, the focus here is process safety. When you start to make process safety a priority and you start to look at those process safety defects, remember, we're in the sustain phase here. So this is all about how do we make this progress in process safety sustainable, keep pushing it forward. And what we found is that, once you start to look at those process safety defects, put more priority on them, it can add more to that to-do list in a way that unfortunately can cause that overwhelm, that sort of constant focus shift, not knowing what's taking priority over something else if you don't have a workload management, an effective workload management process in place. So really step one, once you're at this point, is to develop a methodology for risk ranking your process safety incidents or defects. Once you start to look at those process safety incidents that occur at your site or that have occurred, you're going to want to rank them based on a certain methodology, a methodology that we recommend, or two components that we recommend be incorporated into that methodology are to base your rank on safety impact and the frequency of the incident itself. I'm not saying you should limit it to those two factors, but we believe those two factors should be included in your risk ranking methodology. Safety impact being how bad could this incident have gotten? How bad could we have hurt people? How bad could we have damaged equipment? What's the highest consequence we see that this event could have reached, or hopefully not, but maybe it did reach that point? And how often is this event occurring? There's the frequency. The combination of those two things should give you a ranking. However, that ranking, you decide the format of that ranking at your site, whether that's a color or a letter or a number. And then you're going to want to develop that list of incidents based on risk rank. And something that we've said in this course and in our challenges is that that technical risk ranking process is something that we don't cover, but is essential into really a good risk management, process safety risk management process. And so you're going to want to make sure you have that in place at your site. Hopefully you do already, but if not, it's a key element. You're going to want to make sure that this methodology incorporates that risk management process in there. Out of step one, you should have a list of risk ranked process safety incidents at your site. Step two then is about developing a second methodology for prioritizing the actions that come out of those incidents. Hopefully for each incident, you are performing a root cause investigation. Root cause being the key word, that you've gathered the right folks and you've done a thorough investigation into what has caused that process safety incident. This should ideally be performed by your process safety task force, which is formed in step 3 of our framework in the setup collaboration channels step. And that task force, should have conducted the investigation, should have performed the ranking in the step 1 of managed workload here. And in step 2, all of the actions that came out of the investigation now need to be prioritized, right? And so what we recommend and what we push for is that that prioritization of those actions should be based on the risk ranking from step one, the resource or time required to complete the action. Now, why not just the risk ranking? Why did we risk rank? Shouldn't the actions just follow exactly from the risk ranking from step one? Well, the thing is that at the end of the day, some actions take longer than others. And so you could have an action that came from a process safety incident that's ranked very highly based on the safety impact and how often that incident occurs. But that action is something that's going to take 6 months or a year to complete, to implement. And so, at the end of the day, of course, it needs to be factored and prioritized highly, but some other actions that may be a little bit lower on the risk rank list, but can be completed within a week or two, should really be considered because of that, sort of dual front, I like to call it, the dual front progress that you want to be making. You don't want to stay stagnant in terms of your action completion progress for 6 months. You want to be making progress on the defects that you can be making progress on and completing them. That's going to show, that's going to cause risk reduction quicker, and it's going to create more motivation through what we call, the quick wins, the quick win effect, in that the workforce is going to see the progress made from these actions getting completed and these process defects start to get eliminated. They're going to see the impact. They're going to see the effects, and that should generate momentum, should help you secure more of that site buy-in that we're looking for. And so that's why we recommend incorporating that into the prioritization method for your actions. And the second key part of this step into prioritizing actions is that you narrow your focus down to a certain top number of actions. Now, this could be a top number of actions for the site, or this could be a top number of actions for each person, each action owner, if you will. The key is to narrow the focus down and stick with those actions until they're completed. This is going to avoid that constant focus shift on the latest thing that might have been popping up, that human nature tells us, oh, here's the the shiny thing that just popped up. I should focus my attention on that. And if you're constantly doing that, then really you're not going to be making progress on much. And so you want to maintain that focus. Now, of course, as new incidents happen, and they follow through the risk rank process and the prioritization process, can definitely happen, and it will happen, that something occurs that must replace one of the actions on the top 10 list for each person or for the site. And that's okay. The key is that it goes through a process, it goes through a methodology, and everyone is in agreement that this now displaces something off of that list. But the key word is displace, right? And so once we've agreed that it takes precedent, then everyone understands that something had to get displaced, and that action is going to take a bit longer now. It's not going to receive attention for a while until something else gets done on the list. This is in contrast to what often happens with workload management, where it's added to the list, but nothing is taken off, right? And so it's expected that everything is just going to get done. Okay, well, get it all done. Well, I mean, now you've added something else to my plate. I mean, well, just get it all done. I don't know, but just, get it all done. Obviously, that leads to a lot of burnout, a lot of not sure what to really focus on. Everything is a priority. Nothing is a priority, like Joel mentioned. So that's the key here. Key here behind this whole process is to keep that focus honed in and constant until actions are completed. And we believe that you will find you will get further faster that way. Finally, step 3 is to manage up as well as down. This is all about the process safety leader. You can employ this process to managing the workload for your teams, for the teams you have influence over, even maybe your peers, but you also have superiors to answer to who are going to be asking you questions. And so when the time comes that you are asked about XYZ action that might have been displaced or simply has fallen down in priority, that you are very clear with your superiors that this has fallen, this has been displaced with this, it's going to take longer now. If you feel differently, then we've got to discuss how our workload is going to shift, what's going to displace what, and we have to agree on that, because at the end of the day, there's only a certain number of people, there's only a certain number of hours in the day. And so the key here is alignment on priority, both up and down so that there's no miscommunication, no confusion. Everyone is on the same page, and we can all finally hone in our focus and keep pushing progress on the actions that we've agreed upon. If there is overload of work happening, then that's flagged both to you from your team and also from you upward. Again, flagging those issues before they become misunderstandings that are blown further out of proportion. So those are the 3 steps to managing workload under our Safe Energy Ops system.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Felipe, for breaking those down. So we want to remind everybody that this is only one step of our 9-step process. And if you want access to this cheat sheet and our 100% free challenge where we take you by the hand, let me show you how you can get access to all this content so that you can actually start deploying this in your site and help you as a process safety leader. And so to complete the challenge, you want to go to our website, safeenergyops.com. And in the website, you're going to be able to get access and join our 100% free Increase Your Process Safety Leadership Challenge. You just click our join our community here, and it will drive you to here. And that way you can join and get all the downloadable, content that we have for you. And at the end of the day, if you want our help implementing these very same principles and the framework so that you and your site can increase your process safety leadership, you can go ahead and schedule a 20-minute, 30-minute call. We'll just have a conversation around where you're at and maybe possibly where your site could be at in terms of process safety leadership. So feel free to go ahead and schedule a call if that's of your interest. Until next video, thank you for watching. Appreciate y'all, and make sure to keep safe out there. Talk to y'all later.